Protein is about the most expensive nutrient in animal feed. That's very expensive. Poor feed leads to stunt growth. Like I'm saying, if you don't give your fish quality feed, it will lead to poor growth. I can see you are raising your hand, sir. Can you let me finish? You can keep your question to the end when I finish. You can always, there's a time to ask question. We have a question and answer session. Poor quality, feed quality directly have impact your ROI, that's return on investment. Time is money. We all know time is money. I can't be feeding fish for 8 months when I can achieve it in 4 months. If I can invest money and get the same result in 4 months, why waste time for 8 months to get the same quality? Time is money. And in agriculture, what people don't know is the more you turn over your investment, the more profit you make. A lot of people go into farming not prepared. People don't even do projection from the beginning of farming, from the beginning of every season or from the beginning of every cycle. Before I start any cycle, I go down, take my pen and paper, do projection for this cycle. What am I going to need? I will have prepared for the feed I'm going to need from the beginning of the cycle to probably the end of the cycle. At least I have 80% of the feed. So when the pressure comes, I won't be pressurized to sell my livestock or sell the fish I have. So the quality of feed, people are not seeing the importance of it. The quality of feed matters a lot. I've seen people get 1 kg, 1.5 kg in 3.5 months. It has happened. It's quality of feed, premium quality of feed. And feeding right. It's not even about feed formulation. It's not only about rather feed formulation or feeding. The right way of feeding. You see people using 2 mm. I'm talking about fish. Now, I see people using 2 mm at 3 months. For what? They don't need it. There's a right way to feed your animal, be it piggery, be it poultry. There's a right way to feed and the right feed to give them. The impact of feed costs. The impact of feed cost on profitability. Feed typically accounts for 60 to 80% of total cost. Improve feed conversion ratio and reducing waste, significantly increasing margin. There's something they call FCR, feed conversion ratio. For example, a very good feed should give you, if you are putting in 1 kg of fish, at least you should get 900 grams of body weight. Be it fish, be it piggery, be it goat, be it whatever. If your feed conversion ratio is not right, your feed has problem. I've seen feed that give you like 1-to-1. You give 1 kg, it gives you 1 kg. At least 1.2 kg should give you 1 kg body weight for a very good feed. So when you start giving your animal 1.5 kg of feed that is not giving you 1 kg of fish, you are losing already. That means you need to use 1.5 of feed to get 1 for body weight. Example, a farm produces losses by 20% after optimizing its feed formulation strategy. That's true. We have to look into our feed formulation strategy. Your feed formulation, in short, you have to take your feed formulation very, very important. The way you take your hygiene, the hygiene of your animal important. The way you take your environment important. The feed formulation, the feed you are giving your animal is very important. As a matter of fact, I tell farmers, buy your feed first even before you start any cycle. Even if you are under pressure, you can sell the feed and get your money back. That's why most people, when they want to give farmers a loan, they'll tell them, what do you want to use the loan for? A lot of time when you apply for loan, you will see, are you buying inputs or what do you want? A lot of farmers say, no, they want the money. That's why you know people that are not really interested in farming. They don't have passion for farming. Me, I've always looked for the inputs. But the inputs, even while I'm having the inputs, I can calculate my profit already from the beginning. You know, okay, If I'm investing so, 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 and so, it should give me so, so, and so. For example, let's say a fish now. Let's say 1 ton of fish, 1 ton of feed for fish is around 1.6 million. I'm just making an estimate. I'm not giving you. Hello, can you people hear me? Thank
Yes,
you.
we can have it, sir.
Thank you very much. So, like I was saying, if you have 1 ton of feed and it costs you 1.6 million, you should be able to estimate your profit from the beginning. You do market survey, you do all those things, you check the price of what is selling. From the beginning, you should know, okay, am I going to make profit? What's my gross profit on this investment? If 1 ton of maybe fish or pig is selling for 3 million, you already know what you are making, even before you start talking about cost of workmanship, labor, and so on and so forth. So feed is a very, very integral part of livestock farming. So let me move on. Common myths in feed formulation. There are several misconceptions regarding feed formulation. One common belief is that cheaper feed is a better option, which is misleading, and it can compromise your quality. In farming, you don't have to compromise your quality. You don't want to compromise your quality. They should know you for your quality. For instance, I was pitching in a pitch competition one time like that, and they were asking me, why do you want to integrate backward integration into your farming system? And backward integration means that, okay, I want to focus on, I'm doing packaging of fish now. I'm doing processing. I do processing. Why do I still want to be the one raising the fish, be the one packaging it, be the one smoking it, and whatever and so forth? I said, because most of the time you can't trust farmers with what they produce. 1 kg of fish, after processing, is supposed to give you 250 grams. You buy fish from somebody, you process it, you are having 100 grams or 150 grams. That person has really used a very bad feed to feed the fish to gain weight. The person has cut corners. Another example I want to give you, another instance is a lot of people, you see them feeding fish with PKC. You see people feeding fish with bread. You see people feeding fish, all animals, it's happening in all animals, feeding fish or whatever with gala. Those kind of feed are not quality feed. At the end of the day, it will impact the quality of what you produce. When you have a projection like at 4 months, tops 5 months, I want to make a body weight of 1 kg, and you're feeding fish with all those kind of quality, you will not get that quality at that time. It will take time, first of all. You might have weight. A lot of people are chasing after weight, yes, I understand. You might have weight, but after people process your fish, they might not come back again. The quality is key. And when to use a particular type of feed and when to reduce your protein content matters a lot. Another myth is that any protein source is satisfactory, ignoring specific nutritional need. You cannot compromise protein in catfish farming or in animal feed. Protein is the building blocks of animals. It helps them to increase, to build, to grow. Just like in children, you cannot compromise protein in children, especially babies. Protein is very, very important. Lastly, some consider feed formulation to be merely a guessing process. However, using scientific based knowledge can debunk these myths and improve outcome. I cannot wake up in the morning and say, okay, I know they say they normally use soya. They normally use GNC. I will mix it together with, they say PKC gives animal weight. I'll mix it together with PKC and give it to my animal, and it's going to work. You don't do that. There was a day I did a formulation. I've done the formulation because there was a time I was really struggling with feed formulation. I wasn't getting results. When I started 2017, 2018, there's this feed milk guy that we are very close. The guy, we tried, experimented, we did a lot of things. Why am I not getting results? I was doing a lot of guesswork. Okay, they say PKC can work. You go online, you see, okay, this one 45%, this one 40%, this one, you mix it together, it will not work. It will not give you the expected results. You can't do guesswork in feed formulation. You have to get it right. You always have to get it right in feed formulation. That's where the scientific side comes in. You have to get results. People are getting results. Are we not buying package feed? Can I get reaction? Are we not buying package feed? Are we not buying imported feed?
Yes, we do.
Yes. And they are getting results. How are they doing it? They have methods. They have system. Before you ever thought about it, they are using tech to do it. They will never sit down. They have research and development department that do that for them. For example, let me give you an example. Ala Aqua. I've been following Ala Aqua since 2016, watching their ingredients. It changes. It changes over the years. You see them, they will keep changing it, they will keep changing it, they will keep changing it. For every feed I buy, I go through the ingredients and what they use for their feed formulation. I personally analyze it on my system. If what they actually put in there is true, most of the time they are not true. When you put it and you analyze it on the system, you see that it's not possible for them to do this thing. How are they getting it? Probably they are not telling you what they are using. Sometimes they are not being truthful. They will not tell you what they actually use. There was a time we bought a particular feed that our fish was dying. And I was like, what was happening? There's a particular ingredient you cannot use more than 10%. In short, 10% is too much, 5% is okay. Once you start using 10%, your fish will start dying. An example is that you start seeing them having cracked skull, swollen tissues, and so on and so forth. I analyze it and I realized they are using this particular ingredient and I had to avoid it because I was also doing feed formulation. Then I wasn't able to do starter feed. I was doing the finisher from probably like 2 months to like 4 months feed. We didn't have the machine to do the 2 ml, the starter feed then. But now we have the machine. So we don't bother even going to buy packet feed. Except if it's coming from the hatchery, we just need to boost them. But from 2 mm upward, we are doing them, we are producing it because we have the know-how, the resources. We paid for the research, we put our time into research, and we are able to do it. So let's move on. Impact of feed cost. Okay, I think that's impact of feed cost. Feed typically represents 60 to 80% of total production cost. Consequently, managing this cost effectively is essential for profitability. Improving the feed conversion ratio and reducing waste can significantly enhance your profit margin. For example, a farm that optimizes feed formulation strategy reports a 20% reduction in losses. You cannot afford to make loss. I've come to a point in my life, I've wasted money. I don't want to waste money anymore. In animal feed, you cannot joke with money anymore in this time we are in right now. As a farmer, you cannot joke with money anymore. You need to calculate. You need to come up with a good strategy for profitability. If all things be equal, you can make 100% profit. If I'm lying, you can talk. I stand to be corrected. It's possible for you to make 100% profit in farming. Can I get a reaction? Am I lying?
You
It's
can
quite
make
possible.
150%.
Yes, thank you very
It's
much.
quite possible.
I've done before, I've achieved it before. All things being equal, I've made 100% profits. My first, when I started catfish farming in 2016, I put in short, how much did I put in? 150K. I got close to 400,000. All things being equal. Okay, let's just remove. I didn't rent fund. My brother gave me funds. I didn't use a lot of manpower, whatever, but I made more than 100% because I put in the time to do the right thing, to do the right practices, and also to feed my fish with the right feed because I was made to do that. And I got the result. Not once, not twice. That's why feed formulation or feeding generally should be taken seriously. It's very, very crucial. It's very, very pivotal for you to make profits in any kind of farming. Classes of nutrient and animal feed. Animal diet must include the following essential nutrient classes. Number one, carbohydrates. You cannot compromise it. You cannot replace corn with gari. There's what gari can do. Gari does not have complete nutrition like corn. It's the main source of energy. Whatever you are going to replace with corn, you can be thinking of something like guinea corn, sorghum, something that is close, that will give your animal energy. You cannot compromise. Protein, muscle development, repair, enzyme formation, fat and oil, concentrated energy, absorption of fat solubles and vitamins. Those three classes of macronutrients, you cannot compromise it. You cannot compromise it. Protein, it has to be in a good ratio with carbohydrates. If protein is too much, you are wasting your money. Protein is about the most expensive macronutrient in animal feed formulation. If you put too much protein, people say, okay, let me put too much protein so that they will grow fast. You are wasting your money. Because when protein becomes too much, the animal will convert it. As long as they've received the amount they need, they will convert it to energy. So your money is wasting. That's why I said you have to be scientific in feed formulation. If you want to formulate feed, you have to be scientific. That's why we are bringing tech and AI into animal feed formulation, because you have to get it right. The animal will metabolize the protein and turn it to carbohydrate, and you are wasting your money. You get more waste in your pond or whatever, more waste. The micronutrient, vitamins, that's where we get premix for immunity, for growth, for metabolism. Minerals, bone strength, enzyme additive, fluid balancing. Enzymes are for some additives we add into animal feed. We all know it. Most of us have been into fish farming. We all know about that. Also, bone strength. Talking about something like limestone, like bone meal and so on and so forth. So all this nutrition has to be balanced for you to get results in feed formulation. You cannot use tech if you don't understand this thing very well, especially AI. Even prompting AI, I'm a certified AI generative AI professional. If you don't know what you are doing, when you start prompting AI, it will give you the wrong result. Whenever you prompt AI, a lot of people that use ChatGPT, you will see it will tell you ChatGPT can make mistake, it can make mistake. That's where prompt engineering comes in. You have to know what you are prompting, first of all, for you to get it right. If you don't understand the basic of feed formulation, you cannot use tech very well. It might not be efficient to you. A lot of people say, okay, I've been using software, I've been using tools, I've been using so and so, it's not working for me. You are not doing something right. You are doing something wrong. You have to know what you are doing for you to get the right result. That's why this webinar, I'm coming out with this webinar for free. The impact of feed importation is really killing our farms. A lot of people in farm have gone out of business. And why? If you can get option, if you can formulate your feed by yourself and get it right, you will get results. I'm not lying to you. In this office I'm sitting in, We have a feed processing factory downstairs. You have to get it right. You have to get it right for you to make profit. A lot of people say, farming is volatile. Farming is a lot of risk is involved in it. You have to calculate. You have to circumvent the risk. There's no business that is not risky. All business are risky. All business face their challenges. That is why you have to plan. Who goes to war without counting the cost? Who build a house without first of all counting the cost of it? If you are going to business, if you are going to farming, you need to calculate, you need to sit down and plan ahead. Plan for any eventuality. And number one thing to plan for is the feed, your inputs. You have to plan right. You have to prepare for whatever is going to happen. With all conditions being right, you are going to make profits. And first of all, one thing we should all know, we should not take farming as a hobby. We should take it as a business. When you start taking farming as a business, you see it as a business, it becomes profitable to you. A lot of people say, okay, my brother is doing fish, let me do fish. Why are you doing fish? Why did you start the farming in the first place? Why are you into it in the first place? You have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I going through this risk? See, I've made a lot of losses in farming. I didn't give up, but because I have passion for it, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. When I went into farming in 2016, a lot of people say, yeah, IT professional, what are you doing in farming? Uh, just messing up yourself. I say I love farming. Last year, I won an hackathon. I created an app that helped farmers to get insights into the resources they need for every cycle. Resources, how to plan, projection, how to track the progress of their whatever they are farming, going to, whatever they are doing. Even newcomers, new people that don't know anything about farming can use the app. So we won the 3NTT hackathon in those states for the app. But when we went to the market, I realized something. There's a gap. There's still a gap. Why create an app for agri-tech? You see a lot of tech people, they run from agri-tech because there are a lot of things, a lot of modalities they don't understand. They try to hide from it. Fintech is easy. I'm a product manager. I do fintech. I do agri-tech. They run from it because they don't understand the gap. Why did I come up with this webinar? I realized there's a gap. Even if people want to use the app, how would they use it when they don't even understand what they are doing? So I had to change the strategy from being a tech agri system to a tech-enabled system. I've been doing tech-enabled for years. I've been using software to do my feed formulation analysis. That's one of the main reason why I'm coming up with this webinar, to educate people and to bridge that gap that is in agriculture. There's a lot of gap in agriculture. You see people, okay, I met somebody when I went for a conference in February, founders conference. We were talking about experiences in our businesses. And somebody came to me after please, Mr. Kennedy, when we finish, you ask a question, there will be a question and answer session. So when we were talking, he said a friend of his came from US and invested in agriculture. They say he invested in cassava. By the time they started the farming, it got to an extent, they've not even cleared the land before the money finished. Why? They did not plan from the beginning. They didn't have enough knowledge. They didn't have enough resources to plan. In whatever farming we are going into, we need to plan. You can, even if you don't have money to start, plan, write it down, keep it. For my next cycle, I already have a plan down for it. What I'm going to do at the end of it, I've already planned it down. You need nutritional ratio guideline for common livestock, catfish, for juvenile. 30 to 45% crude protein. For growers, 25 to 30% crude protein. That's the ratio. If you look at any feed you buy, that's for fish. For poultry, it's 20 to 24% for starter feed, 18 to 20% for finisher. For goats, 12 to 14% for cattle, 10 to 14%. P, 16 to 18% for grower, 12 to 14% for finisher. You see that fish should be much more capital intensive than any other animal farming because you need a lot of protein to raise fish. If you're starting with 2 mm, 3 mm, 2 mm is always 45%. For premium feed, I'm not talking about locally produced feed. For premium feed, it's 45%. And for you to get that mix well to get 45%, you try. It's not easy to get 45% with the local feed you have, with the local ingredients you have. It's not easy. That's where you need analysis. That's where you need tech. I formulated a feed before with the software I use. And I got to where I normally buy ingredients. And I found out that there's a particular ingredient they didn't have. Me that I'm used to try and error. I just said, okay, I'll use this one to replace it. When we finish the feed, I went back to analyze. It's not enough to do feed, you produce it. You have to analyze what you produce too. The mix you have, the ingredients you mix, you have to come back, analyze it and see it. I realized that after analyzing, what I finished analyzing, what I've already gotten like 40%, I realized just one ingredient I added, the feed went to 35%. What if I didn't have a system or a software to actually analyze it? I won't know that I made a great mistake, and I will never make that mistake again. I've never made that mistake again. I realized just one tweak can affect your whole feed formulation. So that is why it's not enough to know the ratio. Your supplier also is very important. The people that supply feed also are very, very important. Where you get your feed from, feed ingredient for is very, 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 very important. Let's move forward. Tech in feed formulation. Modern technology plays a pivotal role in feed formulation, employing mobile application, AI-powered software, cloud-based calculator to enhance accuracy. Accuracy is very important. You have to cross your T and dot your I's. These tools minimize human errors and provide consistency in feed formulation processes, ensuring nutritional needs are met with high precision. Precision matters in feed formulation. Precision matters. Apart from precision, the freshness of the ingredient you buy is very important. The freshness. There are particular places where I stay now. I'm in Ondo State. I don't buy feed. They have stale ingredients. So even if your formulation is right and the ingredient is stale, you should not get your results. Some people store up ingredient for 6 months, some beyond 6 months. They will store it up and sell the old ones. So by the time you use those ingredients to do feed formulation, you realize you will not get results. You will not get the expected results of what you are formulating. And you'll be like, okay, I did my formulation right. What happened? You see feed that are growing mold, ingredients that are growing mold, especially GNC. A lot of places you see their GNC are growing mold. You see their soya meal still. Even the smell of it will put you off. Benefits of technology. Utilizing technology in feed formulation ensures optimal nutritional value for animal by allowing real-time adjustment based on specific requirements and performance metrics. Furthermore, these tools facilitate tracking and forecasting, helping farmers make informed decisions that lead to better outcome. Your outcome is what you are going to, is where you are going to, your destination. Your outcome should be very important to you. You should not waste your time dabbling around. You should not waste your money doing try and error. whatever kind of feed, animal feed you are doing, you should get it right. Performance is very, very important. Okay, let's move on. Several advanced tools are available for feed formulation, such as Pearson Square. Pearson Square. I talked about Pearson Square earlier. I've used Pearson Square. It's not software. It's pen and paper. You do it, you draw it like this, you draw it like that. That's why I started with feed formulation. There's Pearson Square, there's try and error for feed formulation, such as Pearson Square, which is ideal for basic balancing. Basic. You might not get precision from it. It won't be precise. Feed Excel, which offer comprehensive performance tracking. WinFeed, I've used WinFeed before. I've used WinFeed when I started feed formulation with tech. I used WinFeed, but it wasn't flexible. It's very rigid, very, very rigid, which is cost effective yet robust. For in-depth formulation, MFeed is favored by local farmer and farm smart integrate crop livestock system, demonstrating variety of solution available. Cost saving strategy. Cost saving strategy. Sourcing ingredients. The minimum cost, while ensuring feed quality, consider sourcing low cost, high quality ingredients. How do you do that? How do you source for low cost ingredients and high quality? What am I trying to do? I don't like the idea that imported feed is killing our local markets. It's putting us on our feet. When you hear a bag of feed going for 65,000, some 85,000, how do farmers survive? A lot of people have gone out of business. You see a lot of people going using bread from the beginning to the end, and the fish will not grow, and they will lose their money. Why are we bringing tech? Why am I emphasizing on tech in feed formulation, in animal farming? It will help you to do the analysis of the ingredient that's readily available for you to use. A lot of us, there was a time I was looking for rapeseed meal because I saw it in a Alapa feed. They use rapeseed meal to do their feed. It's an ingredient that has a very, very high protein. Feather meal, those things are not available here. Feather meal, rapeseed meal, and some other ingredient like that. They are not readily available for us. But if you have the knowledge of this, of tech, using tech to do analysis, you can source locally available ingredients and you use it for feed formulation, and you will get the right result. Low cost, high quality. That's what we are driving at. Low cost, high quality. How to cut down cost? Like I said, I don't know how much they are selling fish meal now, but most of the time, fish meal is being used in fish feed, poultry feed, piggery feed sometimes, most of the times. And it's very, very expensive. Most of these ingredients, especially feed meal, most of them are synthetic, they are not even real. So when we talk about sourcing low cost and high quality ingredients, we're talking about looking for quality ingredients at low cost that's readily available for you and helping you to increase your profit margin. Let's say you are buying packaged feed produced by a producer in the market. You are spending for 1 ton, maybe like 2 million. If you can do your feed for 1.2 million, you gain 800,000 and you maximize your profit. We are not cutting corners. It's not about cutting corners. Cutting corners is using bread or using gala to feed animal or mixing PKC with whatever. But you are actually sourcing low cost ingredients and giving high quality feed to your animal to maximize your profit. As a business person, you need to maximize your profit or else you go out of business. Example includes cassava peel, moringa, maize bran, rice bran, and fish waste. Building partnership with local agro processor and farm can help in obtaining these ingredients while conducting regular quality tests It's essential to avoid harmful contamination that can affect livestock health. I talk about stale ingredients earlier on. A lot of those stale ingredients might have maybe rat urine, might be infected. And when your animal eat them, you start seeing them manifesting different kind of diseases and so on and so forth. So you need to consistently check your formulation, check your local supplier of your ingredients on the quality of what they are giving you. Smart mixing technique. Effective feed formulation involve using smart mixing techniques tailored to specific need of animal based on its type and stage of growth. You have to know your mix, like I said. A lot of people don't know, apart from even if you are buying feed, they don't know when to feed right. That's another topic for another day. They don't know when to feed right. They don't know when to use starter. They don't know when to use grower. They don't know when to use finisher. From my experience, so I'm just giving expo. I don't use age. I use body weight to feed my animal, especially my fish, and I get results. I use body weight. I don't use month. A lot of people say, okay, the first month use this one, the second month use this one, or the first 2 weeks use this one. I don't do that. I use body weight. I sample. Okay, what ground is it? Okay, at this stage, it needs this thing. At this stage, I need this thing. So while the other people are using like 6 bags of like 2 ml, I'm already using like 3 ml. I might not use 6 bags. I might use like 3 bags, and I'm cutting costs. The right feeding technique matters a lot. Even in feed formulation, you are formulating feed. You need to keep checking. You need to keep sampling. You check your weight, you check your results. If it's working, if it's not working, you retreat, you pivot, you change. You change your strategy. You need to keep on checking. You need to be specific, intentional about what you are doing. Employing premises should be limited to necessary instance, and correct mixing order must be followed. Additive allowed by binding, and then bulk ingredients to ensure consistency and nutritional adequacy. Reduce feed dependency. To lower costs, consider establishing DIY mini feed mill. Do it yourself, that's all DIY. If you can't do that, you have to look for good feed mill that will always help you reduce your formulation. Like I said, when I started, there's a guy I liaise with. Whenever I come, I show him this is the formula. Do this, do this. I stand there, I watch him. But there was a time I left him, he changed. There's something he changed I didn't like. I said, you have allowed me to give you instruction. They might say, this one is not binding. I have to add this one. No, it will affect your results. I know a lot of us might be very busy. Most of the time, when we are doing feed formulation at the mill, I stand with them to see the accuracy because I know what I'm aiming at. I want to get results. So I am there to see the process from the beginning to the end. To lower costs, consider establishing DIY mini feed mill that allow for on-site production of custom feed. Joining or creating cooperative feed system can facilitate bulk purchase, thereby reducing expenses. Additionally, using custom formulas suited for specific livestock needs can lead to better resource utilization and cost efficiency. Practical steps. Step-by-step guide. Begin by defining the nutritional need based on the animal species, age, and purpose. Compile a list of available ingredients along with their nutritional profile. Include this data into feed formulation software. Review the software output and adjust the formulation as necessary. Finally, mix a test batch and monitor results to ensure optimal outcome. Your outcome is your destination. Case study. Numerous case studies highlight the effectiveness of technology in feed formulation. For instance, a catfish farmer employ M feed save over 50,000 monthly. By optimizing feed strategy, if you can save 50,000 monthly, that's a lot of money. In a year, that's 600,000. That's adding to your profit. An optional live demonstration can illustrate how to utilize tools like Feed Excel or MFeed effectively. This interactive session aims to provide a practical walkthrough, allowing participants to observe the software in action, following by open question and answer. Yes, this is where we are going to. If people have questions for me, I saw some of us raising up our hand for question. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready for your questions now. You can go, sir.
Am I
Mr.
recognized?
Alamu. Yes, sir. You can
Okay.
go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
I first want to appreciate your efforts. Thank you very much for the input and the passion. Now, the first question I want to ask, is it really a question? Now, you made mention of ChatGPT also making mistakes. I agree with you. I also use ChatGPT very well. And like you said, it's a garbage in, garbage out. I was in a seminar sometimes with a CEO of what this fish? I forgot the name of the fish now. I will remember why we were talking. And I asked the guy, I said he should talk openly. If they don't include steroid in their, like you said the other time, there are sometimes these people they hide some of the ingredients that they don't disclose them. They will tell you this thing is 45%. Even the fact of the matter is this: when you formulate local feed and you are able to get 45%, the cost of your own formulation will be higher than theirs. Still, you will not get their results. You discover that these people they use steroids. That's this growth hormone. But what we have discovered is that this growth hormone is cancerous,
Yes, sir. You're
and
very
it's one
correct.
of the Nigerian feed fish have been rejected abroad. Now, where I'm going is this: if we are using, pure homegrown technologists, pure homegrown technologists, and I so much believe in organic this thing, but you will discover that when you spend a lot of money to grow your this thing organically, somebody was putting concentrate to this thing and has a big this thing. You are going to the same market. Now, this thing is having an idea of all this thing and this thing. How can one guide ChatGPT not to give wrong information? That's where I'm going. How does one guide ChatGPT not to give wrong information? That's my question.
Thank you very much for your question, sir. I've used ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT for prompting very well. And severally, ChatGPT has made mistake. I'll give you an example, sir. There was a day I was making a formulation. I said, ChatGPT, mix soya, mix rice bran, mix so and so together for me. I need so and so percentage of feed. I'm aiming at what? Weight and so on and so forth. ChatGPT 4.0, not the free version, gave me a prompting that put so and so percentage of rice bran. And if you have experience in feed formulation, you are not supposed to use more than 10% in rice bran. 10% is much, especially if you are doing floating feed in catfish feed, because
I even hate rice bran. Instead of rice bran, I use wheat bran.
yes,
I
sir.
use a wheat over.
Yes, sir. Because rice bran is very abrasive. I was just prompting, I was just playing around. I realized
Very,
what ChatGPT gave me
very.
was very, very wrong. So where am I going to? That is why I didn't just come to this seminar and start opening ChatGPT or opening the software we have to start talking about this so and so, we give you so and so. You mix this one together, I give you so and so. I didn't start with that. I went back to the basic. First of all, I agree with you. Severally, these people, we've seen them use hormone. I'm an advocate for organic feed formulation, organic farming. In all my farming system, I'm very organic. How will you know ChatGPT is giving you wrong things? Experience. Practice make perfection. Practice make perfection. I'm a certified generative AI specialist. Even in my product management time, when we are creating software products, there are some prompts you will do, you will say, no, ChatGPT, you are doing the wrong thing. Number one, you have to know your prompting very well. Before you go to ChatGPT, ChatGPT should not be the beginning and the end of what you need. We should see AI as an assistant, not the main thing that is supposed to give you a result. You need your own experience. At least I have over 8 years of experience in feed formulation. I have my experience. If I prompt anything, if it gives me the wrong result, I know my ratios very well. I know this is wrong. That's where prompt engineering comes in. And ChatGPT itself is not really trained to do feed formulation. For instance, now, the software we created December that won the hackathon, the software was supposed to ease, because we have the MVP, they have launched the MVP, supposed to give farmers insights into every cycle, answer question, make projection. But the normal ChatGPT cannot do it, because that's where data science comes in. We have to go to the playground to prompt and give the instruction on what to do. We have to train the model. Ordinary ChatGPT is not trained to do that. When you prompt, it goes online and look for information or look from the data it has to give you the answer of what you need in a twinkle of an eye. That is why I'm talking about the gap in agriculture. There's a gap that we need to fill. Because most of the time, every time you prompt and the AI model is not trained for it, it will not give you the right result. It will just try. It will just go online, go to the database and look for something that looks similar to what you're asking and give it to you. It will not give you the right result. That's where prompt engineering comes in. And that's one of the reasons why I'm conducting this seminar. Because there are software that have been designed for it. Like the software I've been using from time. It's not AI, but it does analysis. I do it manually, the calculation manually, I build it, I so and so, do so and so for me. So when I go to ChatGPT, when I try ChatGPT and it's not giving me the right result, I knew ChatGPT cannot do it. So there are some AI model which you have to train. That's the work of an engineer, of ML engineer. You have to train the model. And if you don't know anything about agriculture, if you don't know the basic about feed formulation, you cannot train the model that will give you the right result. So have I answered your question, sir?
You have answered partly. Now let me give. That's why I raised up my hand.
Okay, sir.
Now, let me give an instance of what I'm saying now. You understand? I only made mention of ChatGPT just because I know it's a common something like this. I started with the use of Excel. I have an Excel program that if I use it, give me every composition of my proximate composition. Now, I only made mention of ChatGPT just because it's a common something. Now, what I mean is the use of software generally. Now, let me give you an example. When you put fish meal into your this thing to give you a certain percentage of protein. You go to Okitipupa to buy fish meal. There used to be variation. And by the time the software wants to give you this thing, it gives you the exact, but it will calculate based on fish meal. That's around 60-75% protein. But the one you are getting from Okitipupa contains some fish head, there's some scrap, some this thing that will not give you as high as that this thing. So you will not have correct this thing. So this is what I'm saying is, with the use of organic materials, there is variation most of the times in our the component of our composition. And our software will base its own this thing on the range of normal feed composition. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Where the kind of where the problem comes in. I don't know. Maybe you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, sir. Okay, sir. Can I answer your question? For me now.
I'm with you.
Okay, sir.
I'm with you.
For me now, like what you said, I myself, I also use the Ibokoda fish too. Because I avoid synthetic as much as possible. Because most of these feed mill sell synthetic fish meal. In the software I use, I've been working for me. I don't put 75% or 90% or 72%. Because the normal fish meal we buy is 72%. There are three variations of feed percentage I use. I'm just saying this. 60-something percent. You know that Ibokoda fish has a lot of bone. That means your calcium is high. Then, when you're doing feed formulation, you watch out for your calcium. There's an amount of calcium you're supposed to use. Your calcium also is not supposed to be too much. You see people, they say they want to do so feed, they need very strong bone. They put a lot of calcium there. It also affects the fish. So when you're doing that kind of a thing, sir, you give headroom. Okay, if so and so is not up to so and so, what is the minimum I can get? You have to make plans for it. In the sense that we know the synthetic fish meal is 72% crude protein. But what you are getting for a Ibokoda should be around 60-something. Or okay, let's just put it 58. You will still get your results. I've tried it and it has worked. You can't expect to have the same percentage with that synthetic fish meal they are giving you. And again, the crude protein you are aiming at in feed formulation, you have to spread it out. It shouldn't be only on fish. We have soya, maybe you are using soya, maybe you are using GSC or any other source of protein. You have to spread it out. That will help you to balance your feed formulation to be able to achieve that crude protein. Normally, in catfish, most of the time, you don't need 45% so much. There are a time you get to maybe 2 weeks, 1 month, you don't need 45%. 30 to 40% is enough for you. Then your growth should be okay for you. So most of the time when you are doing feed formulation, that's why I say I have to start with the basic of feed formulation, not going into the software part, because a lot of people are looking forward to the software part, but they need to know the intricacies of what makes the software part works. If you don't understand the basics of feed formulation, you will not get the results, even if you are using software. Even if you are using prompts, you will not get the results. So I've answered your question, sir.
Yes, you have answered it well to some extent. Now look at by His grace. I understand what you are saying. Why not going to when you are talking about understanding the basics.
Yes, sir.
By His grace, I'm an engineer by profession. So it's just like somebody who doesn't know how to use drawing board for drawing, who is going for the training of a CAD camp. It will be there for a long time without him knowing what he's doing. But
Yes,
when
sir.
you understand the basic principle of how to draw and you are able to use your drawing board, then you'll be talking about your AutoCAD. It will be easier for you. So I understand what you are saying. That one needs to understand the basics of feed formulation before using that one into, and that's what I said the other time, is a matter of garbage in, garbage out.
Yes, sir.
Is what you do to your thing that it will give back to you.
Yes, sir.
What I'm still saying is this. Okay, let me use that. For example, I use much of BSF just because of its natural source and this thing. And I've discovered that with BSF, you are able to regulate especially your protein content better
Yes.
than the use of this fish meal from Igbokoda.
Yes,
What
sir.
like fish meal from Igbokoda that we are talking about and this thing. There are sometimes you have some that will be pure. There are sometimes you have some that you have a lot of debris in them and this thing
You are
that
very
will
correct.
reduce your the components of your this thing.
Yes,
So
sir.
this is one of the things I'm saying that when we are talking about this thing, what I would have rather suggested is maybe we have what we do in the industrial setup. That's test of raw materials. If we're able to test quality control of our raw materials, and we're able to go through the quality control of our raw materials, it will be easier for us to be putting those little variations.
Okay, sir. All right. Thank you very much, sir.
That
For
will
those
come
people
up
that don't know
with
BSF,
my
it's black
major
sugar
worry,
fly.
my major thing is the variation in the component of the raw. So, and it's also costlier you doing your proximate analysis every time you want to formulate. Maybe you want to go, if you want to produce a 200 kg this thing, you go and buy the raw materials. You do the proximate analysis of every raw material. Proximate analysis, a sample of proximate analysis is 5,000 naira. And there are a lot of variations. It's this variation that is worrying me, that is giving me a headache in any case. This variation in the raw materials component. The variation.
Okay, sir.
So that's what I'm talking about.
All right.
Thank you. You have made a very good effort. You have made a
Yes, sir.
very good effort. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I understand what you're saying, sir. Sir, the training is not ending today. We have other training that we are doing. In short, in Odo State, we have a training next month to train farmers. The Farmer Congress in Odo State. We have a partner that produces BSF itself. We are encouraging people to use BSF. Because the aim is to cut down cost of production for farmers. And we should be using readily available ingredients to produce our feed. BSF is a very, very good source of protein that we can be using. You were talking about proximate analysis. It's not every time you need to do proximate analysis when you are doing your feed formulation. That's why I was talking about the source. The source you are getting your ingredient from matters a lot. There are some people in those states that cannot go to their place to buy ingredients because they sell stale ingredients. You need consistency. There are certain sets of people, I'm not trying to advertise them, but certain sets of people that buy their ingredient because I know I'm very sure of it. It's always fresh. Even if I want to buy ingredient from you, I want to see it. I want to see the consistency. I'm very, very particular of the quality of it because the consistency matters a lot to me. If you get your consistency right, you will keep having serious variation. I understand what you are saying, sir.
That's true. That's true. I agree with you.
I understand what you are saying, sir. I've been buying the crocodile fish for a very long time. I got to a point I got tired. Okay, you go to your supplier to buy crocodile fish, and it gives you fish of maybe a bag of like 50 kg. And you weigh it is 50 kg. When you get to where you want to produce, you see that the person has mixed it with water. There are some, you see sticks, you see bottles inside, you see so and many dirty things inside that sometimes you need to start sorting.
Yes.
So those are the things that will affect your feed formulation. One of the producers of VSF in those states is we pitched together in one of the pitch we did in Ondia last year. It's a major source because if you are doing feed formulation and we don't have good source, consistent source, our consistency will be compromised. And feed formulation, you have to be consistent. You have to get your ingredient right. The technical part has to be right. The ingredient part has to be right for you to get consistent results. Earlier today, I've made mention of the fact that your supplier is very, very important. Even if I'm getting Igbokoda fish today, there's a particular person I will call. There's a particular person I will call. I know the supply is okay if I can't get BSF. Because sometimes you need to have backup. Okay, if I'm using this formula, I'm not getting the ingredients. I need to have a backup to keep my consistency. You have to have a backup. You have to make plans. And you have to keep your consistent. You have to be consistent in your results. Especially if you are doing feed formulation on a large scale. Your supplier is very, very important. A lot of people just go to any shop and say, okay, I want to buy this. And you see some GNC growing mold. You can't use it because it's already compromised. It can affect your animal. It can affect your livestock. You can't use soya that is already growing mold. You see some of them, they are already clustered inside. You can't use those kind of feed to feed your animal. They will affect your production. They can even kill your animal. So that is why I'm starting with the basic of feed formulation. Most of the time, it's not really about the tech. The tech will help you get results when it comes to feed formulation. But the basics of feed formulation, you need to understand it. You need to understand the basic of feed formulation for you to get results. Thank you very much. I see somebody else. Yes, sir. Another person that wants to ask a question. Mr. Tawhid, can you please off your camera? Someone was raising their hand before. Is there any other question? Can you hear me? All right. It's Bami. You can ask your question, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Raphael, I quite appreciate the efforts you have put in bringing this webinar. I would like to know, when are you going to bring up the AI tool that you're talking about that can utilize to formulate feed?
Okay, thank you very much. We started with the basis of field formulation, not starting with AI too, because we wanted to make people know the basic of field formulation and not just. But the tool we are going to be using will be used during our next training. That's our next level training. For the next level, that is, we'll be going into the practical aspect of field formulation. This is just the basics. We are going to go hands-on to what we are going to be using. Is it software? Is it AI? There's a particular software we are going to use that will help you do any analysis that you need to do. Ma, have I answered your question, ma?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, ma. Is there any other question? Do anybody have any questions?
So, I have a question. My question is quite simple. You are particular about some words, some keywords. You said analysis. I'm not particularly sure what analysis means. And if an AI or if a software can give you an analysis, because for example, what I feel is more important in livestock feeding is testing the material, like Mr. Bamgoye said. Mr. Olumurewa. Like he said, it's testing it for inconsistencies. AI or any software won't consider your inconsistency. Even if you have the best of suppliers, there's still going to be inconsistency. Take for example, recently, Amo birds, they are recalling their animals because there's an outbreak. That's inconsistency. So even if you have gotten even if Amo is a reputed breeders of livestock, there's still going to be issues there. Even if you are getting black soldier fly, there's still going to be issues there. They might be too old, they might be too young. So those are inconsistencies too. Even in feed that you are importing, there's still inconsistency. So when you're saying analysis, do you mean general speculations, or because I don't ever think there's going to be an in-depth analysis of this material? And just to buttress what you were saying with Mr. Olumurewa, I think in terms of fish meal, the proper thing to do is this, to consider is this: fish meal that anybody has said or that is being put on the internet, they use the body of the fish. So there's no consideration of the head, the bones, and or any other fin. It is just the flesh, the fleshy part. I don't know what you people in aquaculture call it. Maybe the meat. I think I've heard some people call it meat. The meaty part of the fish. That's what they use. So that's why they have a greater percentage of protein in it. But when we now want to say we want to use Ibokoda still has the scales that are
Yes.
on the fishes. It has a lot of things that are on the fishes. So when we put that in and we just grind it and we say, oh, this thing is bad, the fish suppliers are bad people. No, it is not them, it is us. So a lot of times I feel like this is the problem that farmers have. Farmers think that I'm doing everything, I'm spending my money, so I should be getting the most premium of produce. That's not the case. Sometimes these people scavenge to get you this product. So if you're not there yourself to say, oh, I want to assure quality in what I am going to get, you're not going to get anything. You're just going to get basically anything. It's like in animal production. If anybody wants to sell, maybe for example, pigs for you, and they don't have in themselves, they don't have metrics for measuring their own growth, for measuring their own strength, then you know that you are just going to get any animal that they sell for you. They are not going to be sure on the quality of those animals. So this is why we say that farmers should in themselves go there, see how these things are being done. What are the processes of you getting these things out? What are the things that we are doing? If these things are able to be done, then we can know that, okay, for sure, we are getting what we are expected to get. And if we are not going to get it, at least we are getting something closer. For prompting and all of these things, I feel like it is even a very complicated idea because these things are new, and there's usually going to be discrepancy in, like, for example, maize. ingredients, the crude protein for maize or the energy level of maize is different in Nigeria from the ones in Asian part of the country, Asian parts of the continent rather. So if you are going to say I'm just doing maize, it's like what is your maize? What's your maize about? Is it even yellow maize? Is it white maize? All those things brings inconsistencies. So when you're saying analysis, what's the analysis about? Definitely. So thank you for the avenue. And I feel like since you're in Ondo State, we should meet. Sorry, this is out of the. We should meet and talk agriculture because I'm very interested in talking about feed management, especially feed production, because I'm also doing feed production and animal
Okay.
production on the side. So we do for farmers, if any farmer is interested in buying, we do the concentrate, and we also do actual feeds for livestock. But I feel like for pig farmers or cattle farmers and goat farmers, sheep farmers, ruminant animals, you can do the concentrate because of the fiber intake that the animals have. But
Okay.
yes, so thank you.
Yeah, but if you've been following, you realize I've already answered most of the things you asked. Like I said
I'm not
some
asking a
time.
question, sorry. It was just the analysis part. But how do you do this analysis? That's just my own destiny. So when you said
Like I
in-depth
said,
feed analysis, I'm like, no, it's not possible.
like I said, ChatGPT or AI model that is not trained, you always make mistakes when you're making analysis. And I said something when Mr. Engineer, I think Engineer Lamure was asking me a question. I said sometimes you need to make room. You need to make room. For instance, you can't say what you get from Gogoda is 72%. It's not possible. And I said the one from Gogoda definitely will have a lot of calcium. Your supplier matters at the same time. For instance, you are if you know they sell those kind of fish probably in Shasha. When you get from people, sometimes you see slippers inside. You see stale fish inside, not fresh. When we are talking about Bokoda fish, there are different types of Bokoda fish. Is it full fish? They are the ones of whole fish. They are the ones of cookies. There are fish that they are whole fish, head to toe. And you know you are getting 68%. It's not fish weight most of the time. Yes, fish weight can work for you if you can't afford whole fish. So most of the time when we're talking about fish meal, we are talking about whole fish. The head, everything is part of it. But you know, you have to balance your calcium at the same time because too much calcium can affect your fish or your livestock. So when I'm talking about analysis, when I'm talking about feed formulation, basically I don't use ChatGPT to do my formulation. I don't use it. There's a particular software I use myself to do the analysis for every ingredient I'm using. And I make room for inconsistency at the same time so that I can get results. Mr. Ayowole, are you getting me?
Yes.
Have I answered the question?
Yes, yes, you have, yes. You have answered my question.
All right, sir, Mr. Engineer Lumurewa.
Thank you very much. I only
Yes, sir.
want to add to what you said to the last speaker.
Okay, sir.
There is no way you do not have variation. The only thing that will cause worry is when you are having wide variation.
Yes, sir.
I give you an instance. If you plant the same variety of maize, you go and plant one in Oyo, you go and plant that same variety, you go and plant it in a carré, you will not have the same proximate composition when you analyze them. But what we are saying is for these things, there will always be variation. And that is why our feed this thing is not giving absolute value. You don't have compulsorily 45% protein. You have it in a range. That is
Yes.
why it's for that flexibility. I'm only using that to support your answer for the last this thing when we are talking. Like, take for instance, even the BSF we are talking about. If you buy a batch today, it's not going to have the same thing with the batch you are going to buy tomorrow. Because the feed you give to them affects their production it affects their this thing. So,
Yeah.
but it is within a little range. It's within a little range. That the variation will not be too much. So there is no way we not have variation, but where the problem comes in is where we are not having wide variation. It is the
Yes, sir.
wide variation that affects our results. Thank you. I only want to add that one to your hand.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Much appreciated. Is there any other question? Does anybody else want to ask questions? A lot of people have been sending me message that they've not been able to join. Some people say they joined late. Some people say they couldn't join. I might have to repeat this webinar again before we go to the next level. I thank everyone that joined today. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your contribution. Okay, sir. You can talk this.
My dear brother,
Sir.
to save your time and to save this thing, my suggestion is you can just send the video, the recorded version of this thing to
Okay,
those
sir.
people that have registered.
Okay, sir.
Sending it to those people that have registered will assist. So if anybody now asks question, one can, at their own time and this thing, they can send the questions to you and you'll be able to answer them. That
All
one
right.
will
Thank
save
you
your
very
time
much.
rather than repeating this thing. Well, that's a suggestion in any case.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your suggestion, sir. Thank you, everybody. Really taking your time. We've been here for over an hour and a half. Thank you very much. I will send you a message, send everybody a message. I will inform you for the next training. And subsequent training we'll be having in Ondo State. We are going out of Ondo State to Southwest and also to the North to educate people about the innovation we are bringing to farming. Thank you very much. Good night to you, sir. Okay, sir.
Before you go,
Okay, sir.
you were talking about one app the other time
Yes,
that's
sir.
just developed.
Yes, sir.
If one is interested in that app, well, like I told you, I said I'm an engineer, so it's my hobby. I believe so much in all this development and this thing. So
Yes, sir.
if one is interested, how does one go about it? How does one get it? How much? And how does one get it?
Sir, the next training is actually a master class where we'll be teaching people on the software they will be using. It's a master class actually. We are going into the in-depth of the feed formulation. It's not even prompting. The software we did is for insights, it's for general farming, and it's still in the testing stage. So we cannot release it to the
Okay.
public yet. But the
Okay.
software I'm
Okay.
teaching for the master class. I will send you the information in your mail, sir. Since you are a registered.
No,
Yes, sir.
I've answered. Like I
Yes, sir.
said the other time, I said I believe in local content
Yes, sir.
so
Yes, sir.
much.
Yes, sir.
The mere fact that the app was developed indigenously here.
Yes, sir.
So, but though you have answered me that it's still on testing stage, please
Yes, sir.
make sure you work with it and get it perfected. No, you
Yes, sir.
already
Thank you
have
very much.
one. You
Yes, sir.
already have a user. I
Yes, sir.
believe in what is done here.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
I
Thank
was
you very
using
much.
Nitel when MTN came. It was only when Nitel folded up that I came to MTN. I believe in local content. What we can do by ourselves here.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
instead of me using a foreign app, I will use that your app.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. All right.
Work
Thank
on
you
it
very
very.
much. Yes,
I
sir.
work on it.
Thank you very much, sir. All right. Thank you, everybody. In absence of any question, I will reach out to you. I'll also send a link of our community, WhatsApp community to you so that you can always be up to date on the latest information. Thank you very much. Good night to you all.
Good night.
All right.